Hi, welcome to Ghost Prime Reviews, and I'll check out Animated Ultra Magnus. I know Animated was a bit divisive and kind of still is in the community. I've seen it pick up some steam lately, some more fans. Maybe that's because those younger kids who grew up with it are now, well, adults, and are recollecting these, kind of like us old G1ers did with G1 and are still doing.
I need them all.
I was not a fan of Animated in the beginning, but once I saw the toys, I really fell in love. These are awesome. The show is actually really good too. If you haven't seen the show, I highly recommend it. Ultra Magnus in that show is kind of a jerk.
I'm sending out a strike force to intercept if necessary. Meantime, you and your bots just sit tight. And Prime, don't try to be a hero. It's not in your programming.
Magnus was a rank. It wasn't a title. So you became a Magnus, in it. So I thought that was really cool that they made it into a rank instead of just, this is his name. He's Ultra Magnus, and there's Optimus Prime. Prime was also a title. So I love how they did that with the ranking system. I thought that was really cool that they added that into Animated. And in the show, he actually got severely injured by Shockwave.
Ultra Magnus, what happened? Where's your hammer?
Who did this? Shockwave.
This toy is awesome. It's a huge leader class figure, retailed for like $50 back in the day, and it's massive, lights and sounds, chonky, tons of weaponry. There was a repaint of this guy, which I'll go over in the review. Very cool figure. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get to the review. I don't have his box. We're just gonna get right into the figure just to check this guy out. I mean, he is chunky. Look at this guy, he's huge. It's very characteristic of the Animated style. As you can see with the bit nice S-curve on it. If you know anything about artwork and drawing, you'll understand all about S-curves. And this guy does not disappoint on that aesthetic. He is, like I said, huge. Just a lot of paint on him. You don't see leader classes like this anymore. Getting up close here, we could go ahead and zoom a little bit closer maybe onto that head sculpt, which you see his mouth there, and that is because he has a light up and talking feature.
Don't be a hero, Optimus. It's not in your programming. We must return the old Spock to Cybertron. Ultra Magnus here.
And what's interesting is he's supposed to be able to talk. And it's his brow moves and his kind of emotes a little bit. He's, it's kind of cool. I like how they did that, even if it does look a little weird. I think that the way they cut the mouth actually does work for him. But either way, lights and sounds, very cool. You move down. That's the button on his chest, which is the Autobot Elite Guard, because he was the head of the Autobot Elite Guard. Also lights up. Moving down here with the paint work on the chest, and then to the waist, the legs, down to the knees. Got to zoom out a little bit for the legs, the feet. Like paintwork all up in here, paintwork. It's got, just a ton of paint on it, a ton of different colors of plastic. I love the deco on him. I think he looks very cool. I love this sort of like off-light blue color. I've always had ever since I was a kid. I think I first saw it on an Orgus. So very similar to that. Now they did repaint him, which is kind of a weird repaint, into Roadbuster Ultra Magnus, which is weird. I'm not sure why they chose these colors for Ultra Magnus. One of the weirdest things is they didn't repaint the head. He has the same color head, and he has the same hip flaps. It's a weird repaint. It's really just a weird repaint. I think it looks okay as a vehicle, but it's an odd repaint. And he has all the same lights and sounds as the original color version. Moving on to comparisons, you see this guy's about the same height as Commander Class Ultra Magnus. And it's almost half the price originally. I'm not sure if that is adjusted for inflation, but it's definitely not double that. So you could really see where things have gone as far as pricing on Transformers. There is compared to a leader class, more modern leader class in the leader class Grimlock. Weight-wise, though, he is very light in comparison to him. He is super heavy, very thick plastic on him. And here he is with animated leader class Bulkhead. Check out the weapon real quick. So this is the Magnus hammer. And those kind of fold up, mainly for transformation, but you could kind of Pull it out, and it has spring loaded. There's a couple other things you could do that really for the alt mode, but you could have him deploy his weapons in robot mode as well. But this sort of articulation, the one articulation point I don't like is the shoulder, because it hinges in the back and it gets kind of weird there. I mean, it's not terrible. I've seen worse, but yeah, his arm could go out like that. He has 90 degrees there. He does have a bicep swivel, and he can move out like that. Mainly, I think that's mainly for transformation. Also, he does that a lot. Hand, fingers on the hinge. No waist articulation, which is kind of a bummer. Probably because there's a speaker in there. He can kick. And over 90 at the knee. He does kind of have a thigh rotation, but it's more at the knee. He doesn't have any ankle tilts, but that's more of a more modern thing. Head does not go up and down, but it does turn. And he could pretend he could talk. So yeah, those are the things you could do with the articulation on him. Now for weaponry, and you can take these out in vehicle mode 2, you open up his shoulders. These pieces come out like this. You could have guns on both shoulders. Fold these out, get my finger in there. Gatling guns come out the front of the vehicle on his shoulders, and you take these, move this up like so, up like that, and then these could come up with a flap up. So definitely a force to be reckoned with all that weaponry. I mean, that is a massive amount of firepower for a robot to have. All right, moving on to his weapon, the Magnus hammer that he had in the show. There's a little less paint on this. This is done translucent plastic, which I don't like. It would have been nice to have like the details there. You could kind of see it. Maybe the light. There you go. You can kind of see the details where this would be painted. That would be really nice to have. But it's really fun to actually like hit it because of the springy part. So to get it into his hand, there's this kind of like masterpiece style almost, where you got a tab there and there's a slot right into his hand there, and you can move it, just kind of stick it in there like that. You see how he holds it and his fingers go around it, so he kind of holds it like that. I do wish that it was really long and it was super long. You'd hold it like a staff, like in the show, but you can't. The best thing you could do is kind of hold it like this, and he can hold it taller, which I do like that look a lot, and that's kind of what I normally do with it. This being an older figure, I'm not going to go through the transformation step by step and tell you every little thing, small thing about it. I'm going to kind of do it quickly, and we'll see the vehicle mode. Here he is in vehicle mode. He rolls exceptionally well and still has all the weaponry that I showed on his robot mode, with the guns that pop out of here, the guns up here. These guns here, which actually have a little bit more movement, they go like that. They can come up like so. Again, same thing as on his back, like that. And push this button on the side. You can fire, which is very awesome. Love lights and sounds. Miss those. You can just fold them back when they're not done, or you could take them and leave them like this, which I kind of like that look. Technically, it's not supposed to go that way, but I like the way it looks that way, that we can always sort of fire forward. Really very cool. And the paint that shows up, you know, it's not too bad. Some extra silver bits, like this shows up. The silver here, red on the button, a little blue there. The windows are the same. The tires are pinned, not pressed on. Lots of detail in there too, with all the shocks. The taillights, I think they fall short a little bit, but you know, not much you could do without having a whole piece that comes up. I mean, I'm sure they could. I would love to see masterpieces of these things. So this would be a rad masterpiece. But I like the rivets and all the detail they got on this thing. And again, rolls like a champ. And just to compare, here he is with the Roadbuster version. Again, Roadbuster version looks really nice. Same exact sounds. I think the Roadbuster actually looks really good in this mode. This is kind of how I keep him, because I like the colors in this mode. It doesn't really look like Ultra Magnus, where this one does have that invokes Ultra Magnus. It's pretty, but I really like them both. As a robot, though, I do think the blue one is better. But he is a chunky bot, even as a vehicle. Here he is with a Legacy bulkhead. So you can see he's quite large. But you just don't get the playability in vehicle modes these days that you do with this. This thing is I could throw this thing against a wall, I'm not going to, and it would probably not break. I mean, there's some pieces that could pop off of it, but they're frictioned on. They're not pinned, so I don't think they'll break. They'll just pop off. It was made very well. It was made to play and made to, you know, to stay. I mean, made to stay solid. It's definitely something that you don't see these days. And I just adore this. Anyway, let's get on to final thoughts. So final thoughts wise, I mean, he's not perfect, you know, but he is a great figure that you just don't see made these days. He has tons of paint, pretty decent articulation. He looks like the show model. Really, really nice leader class figure to have. If you're in the market for one of these, I would be wary about some paint chipping around the chest here, since it is a button. These little pieces here are often missing. That and his knee pieces can come off, so be careful of those. You know, that is definitely something you need to look out for, but otherwise, it's an excellent piece of Transformers history, and I strongly, strongly recommend him. It is an awesome figure. Even if you're not into animated, you might like this figure. He's really, really cool. Also, I gotta say, I appreciate you staying to the end. Not a lot of my viewers stick around this far, so I really appreciate you watching my videos. And until next time, I'll see you later.